everyone. In last class, we have studied the new chapter, that is profits and gains of business and profession. You have studied theory part and there is few more theory part. Let's continue today's class. Okay. So here fourth question tells that discuss with reason the admissible of the following expenses while computing the profits and gains of business. So first point is that sale tax paid during the year rupees 15,000. Interest on capital rupees 5,000. Donations to political party rupees 10,000. Loss due to theft rupees 20,000. Life insurance premium rupees 3,000. So these are the points we should find out whether it is an admissible expenses or it is an inadmissible expenses. We should verify it. Okay. So first point tells that sales tax paid during the year rupees 15,000. So we should find out whether it is an inadmissible expenses or not. Okay. So here sales tax paid is an inadmissible expenses. So it's an inadmissible expenses. So because it is an incurred by the interest of the business. So reason is that it is incurred by the business. Next question is that interest on capital rupees 5,000. So whether it is an inadmissible expenses or not, let's see into the next slides. So interest on capital is an inadmissible expenses. So it's an inadmissible expenses because it is paid to the proprietor. So what is the reason? Because they have paid to whom? To the proprietor. Okay. Next one is donation to the political party rupees 10,000. So what's the next slide's answer is that donation to the political party is an inadmissible expenses. Okay, it's an inadmissible expenses. So what's the reason? Because it is paid. It is paid by the accessible. Accessible means what? It's an individual person. Okay, it's an individual person's voluntarily, not to the interest of the business. Next point is that loss due to the theft rupees 20,000. So what's here comes? So loss due to the theft is an admissible expenses. It's an admissible expenses provided if it is incurred by the working hours of the business. Next, it may also be treated as inadmissible expenses provided if it is incurred after the working hours of the business. So it's an what is it? It's an inadmissible expenses. I'll just do the dark. Okay. Next one is life insurance premium. Life insurance premium rupees 3,000. Okay. So your life insurance premium paid is an what is that? It's an inadmissible expenses. And it is not incurred for the benefit of the business. It is treated as personal expenses of the accessee. So it's a personal expenses. So it comes under by the accessee. It's not treated as business. So first question we have completed. So sales tax paid during the year, which expense comes under? It comes under admissible expenses. Next, interest on capital, it comes under inadmissible expenses. Next, after that donations to the political party, it comes under inadmissible expenses. Then loss due to theft, it comes under admissible expenses. Next one is fifth point is that life insurance premium paid. So it's an inadmissible expenses because that we cannot take from business because it's a personal expenses of the accessee. Okay. So by the way, we have completed the fourth problem. Let's move to a fifth problem. From the following information of Dr. Manoharan and compute his taxable income from professions of the assessment year 2020 to 21. So they have given receipts and payments. So first one is consultation fees, rupees 50,000. Gift from patients, rupees 20,000. Gift from father-in-law, rupees 30,000. Sale of machines, rupees 12,000. Visiting fees, rupees 10,000. And they have given payment column also. So here, clinic rent on a rupees 25,000. Professional books purchased rupees 12,000. Charitable donations rupees 4,000. So in last theory class, I already explained the format of profession, isn't it? In case of if doctor comes, so which format we should take that you have studied. Then in case of lawyer, based on that format we should take. Then in case of what is that, chartered account. Okay, so based on this we have to calculate the format, isn't it? Yeah, here in question they have mentioned Dr. Manoharan. So we have to take what are the doctors is related we should take. Okay, so in receipt columns, okay, what they mentions, consultation fees we have to take, isn't it? That is very, very important part. And after that they mention gift from, what is that, gift from patient. So that also is required from doctors. Okay, doctors. So the informant I have mentioned, isn't it? And gift from father-in-law, so it's an exempted, so we will not calculate. Okay, it's an exempted. Next one is sale of medicine, it's important, so it's a taxable, we will take this value. Next one is visiting fees. So visiting fees also we should take. So this comes under receipts column. Then after that we should add. Okay. Next one is clinic. Next one is payment part. In payment part, they have mentioned the clinic rent on. So for patient there is no clinic rent on. Okay. So it's an tag. It's an exempted point. Okay. Next one is professional book is important. So in professional books percentage, that depreciation percentage is how much? It's a 40%. I already explained in theory part, isn't it? So yeah, professional book purchased is rupees 12,000. So you should take the 12,000 into 40% because it's a depreciation value, depreciation percentage we should take. Okay. Now, as after that, charitable donation, that also we should serve. So this all we have, this and all is required. So based on this, we will do a problem. Okay, so this is small example problem. While doing a practical class, I'll explain in detail. Okay. Yes. So this is a question. So this is the answer. So compute the income from profession for the assessment year 2020 to 21 of Dr. Manoharan. Okay, then you should mention particular and to amount column. Okay, and in question they have mentioned professional receipts. So right here, professional receipt. First one is consultation fees. We have to mention here particular column, consultation fees. How much they have mentioned? 50,000. We should write in amount column 50,000. Next one is gift from patients, isn't it? So gift from patients, how much they has given? 20,000. So we should write 20,000 in amount column. After that, they mention gift from father-in-law. It's an exempted. We should not take that amount value. Okay, 30,000 we should not take. It's an exempted. Next one is sale of medicine 12,000. We should take that value. So we should write in particular that is sale of medicines 12,000. Okay. Next one is visiting fees, that is 10,000 we should take. Okay, we should write here in particular column that is visiting fees 10,000. And after all, you should calculate everything. You will get final answer that is 20,000. Okay, final you will get 92,000. Okay, finally you will get answer is that 92,000. After that you should take professional expenses. So professional expenses, rent, we should take clinic rent. Okay, so how much they have given? 25,000. You should take that value 25,000. Okay, next they have given the professional books. So I told already professional books that I told mentioned that is 12,000 into 40%. So 40% how it comes? That is a depreciation. In depreciation we have studied 40% depreciation, isn't it? Yeah. So 12,000 into 40%, you will get 4,800. Okay. Next one is charitable donation is a taxable. Sorry, it's an exempted, so you should not write. After that you calculate the answer, you will get 29,800. After that you should take from professional, what is the receipts minus professional expenses, you should minus, you will get final answer that is at 62,200. So 62,200 final answer you will get, that is 92,000 minus 29,800. If you both you will minus, you will get 62,200. So final answer we will get that is a income from professions. Okay, so finally we have completed fifth problem also. Next one is principles governing assessment of profits and gains of business or professions. So first point is that no tax is chargeable on anticipated profit. So first point they tells that no tax is chargeable on anticipated profits. And second point is that tax is levied on the aggregate of an business or professional income earned by the accessee and on the separate income of the accessee from each business. Okay, next point is that business may be legal or illegal. Its profit will be charged to tax. So profit, what is a business may be a legal or illegal, but its profit will be chargeable as tax. Okay, whatever the profit comes, it takes as tax. Okay, next topic is that the business or professions should be carried on by the accessee of for any time during the previous year, neither for the whole or part of the previous year, whether it is a whole or part of the previous year. Next point is that profits or loss of speculation business carried by the accessee should be kept separately. So once again I will repeat that point here, that is that profits or loss of speculation business. Okay, profit or loss of speculation business carried by the accessee. Who is carried by the accessee? Business speculation. So carried by the accessee should be kept separately. Whatever things is there, you should kept by the separately. Next one is tax is levied in the aggregate of all the business or profession income earned by the accessee and not on the separate income of the accessee from each business. Okay, these are the points. And next one is reason for admissible admissibility of the following expenses while computing the income from business. So here, income tax paid rupees 20,000. So what is that? It is not an admissible expense for business because it is a tax on income earned and not has expense incurred for the purpose of earning income. Next, income tax provisions. So it is not an admissible expenses because it's a provision made for meeting further tax liability. Next one is interest on loan. So your interest on loan is an admissible expense. So interest on loan is an admissible expenses. So because it is the normal expenses incurred for the business. What is the reason? Because it's a normal expenses incurred by whom? By the business on the consumption of the loan has been borrowed. Next one is charity and gifts. So it is an inadmissible expenses because it is an expenses incurred which are personal in nature. Next, cost of advertisement in a souvenir of a political party. So it is an inadmissible expenses because it is not incurred for a benefit of a business. Life insurance premium. So it is an inadmissible expenses and it is not incurred for the benefits of the business. It is not incurred for what? For the benefit of the business, and it is the personal expenses of the accessee. So this is the personal expenses of the accessee, so it's not incurred by the business. Okay. Next one is proprietor's salary. So it is an inadmissible expenses because it is paid to the proprietor but not to an outsider. It has paid only for whom? For the proprietor, not for the outsiders. Next one is interest on capital. It is an inadmissible expenses because it is paid to the proprietor. Next, fees paid to the lawyer for drafting partnership deed. So it is an inadmissible expenses because it is a capital expenditure. Okay, so what is a fees paid to a lawyer for drafting partnership deed? So it is an inadmissible expenses for what? For it is a capital expenditure. Okay, next point is that amount spent on training of managers. So it is an admissible expenses because it is incurred for the benefits of the business. Next point is that cash and goods carried away by the breaking of opening business premises. So it is an admissible expenses because it is a incidental to the business. Next one is payment of gratitude of employees. So it is an admissible expenses since it is paid to all the employees. It is interest to the business. Next one is compensations paid to an employee for injuries that is sustained. It is an admissible expenses because it is incurred in the interest of the business. Next point is that penalty paid to customers at the customs authority in connection with importing or prohibited goods. So here it tells that it is an inadmissible expenses because any penalty paid for infringement of law is not allowable under the Income Tax Act. So once again, I will repeat that point. Penalty paid to customs authority in connection with importing of prohibited goods. So the answer tells that it is an inadmissible expenses because any penalty, whatever penalty comes, any penalty paid for infringement of law is not allowable under the income tax act. Okay, next one is commissions paid to purchase on machinery. So what is that answer? It is an inadmissible expenses because it is a capital expenditure. Next one is interest paid on loan taken for doctor's marriage rupees 1,000. So it is an inadmissible expenses since it is treated as personal expenses of the proprietors. So these are comes under the reasons for admissibility of the following expenses while computing in from business. Okay. Next one is short note of acquisitions, patent rights, and entertainment expenses. Okay, let's see the short form of acquisitions of patent rights and acquisition and entertainment expenses. So let's move to the acquisitions of patent rights. So here any expenditure of capital nature incurred or the acquisition of patent is before 1/4/1998 is used for the business is allowed as deduction in equal installments over a period of 14 years. Okay, over a period of how many years? 14 years. Next, or over the unexpired life of the patent rights or copyrights. So patent rights or copyrights beginning with the previous year in which the expenditure is incurred. However, if they are acquired on or after 1/4/1998, depreciation is allowed at the rate of 25%. So how many percent they have mentioned? 25%. Okay, this percent you should remember. In case if you write 30%, it will be wrong. So this point I'll be highlighting. Okay, so 14 years and 25%. You should remember that one. Okay, so once again I will repeat the patent rights. Okay, patent rights before 1/4/1998. So here, and any use of business is allowed has deduction in equal installment. The deduction should be in an equal installment. It's like half of the installment should be shared. Okay, over a period of 14 years. They have mentioned the 14 years or over the unexpired life of the patent rights or copyright. So whether it's a patent right or copyright, no problem. Beginning with the previous year, we should take a beginning. Okay, beginning of the previous year. This also I will like mark beginning of the previous year in which the expenditure is incurred, and however they are acquired on or after 1/4/1998. So before, what is it? 1/4/1998 and after 1/4/1998. Next, depreciation is allowable at the rate of 25%. Okay. Next, let's see the entertainment expenses. Short note of entertainment expenses. Yes, yeah, from the assessment here 2007 to 8, the entertainment amount spent on the entertainment is allowable as a deduction without any limitation on the amount spent. Okay, it includes the following. So there are some 2 more points I have mentioned. Let's go through that. So your entertainment allowance paid to any employee or any other persons, any employee or any other persons. Okay, next one is expenditure on hospitality to any persons or other than the accessory of the office, factory or place of work by providing food or beverage. Okay, next, amount of expenditures incurred for providing meals to employees in place other than the place of working during office hours. Also, these are the short note of acquisitions of patent rights and entertainment expenses. Let's move to next slides. Yes. Next one is income chargeable to tax under the head, that is income from business and profession. So what are the incomes charged under the heads? Okay, let's go through that one point. So your normal profits from general activities as per the profits and loss account of business entity. The second point is that profits from speculation business should be spent separate, should be kept separate from the business income and shown separately. Next point is that any profit other than regular activities of business should be shown as casual income. It should be shown as casual income. So you have studied this chapter, income from other source. In that you have studied the casual income, isn't it? The meaning of casual income, and the casual income percentage is almost that it's a 30% of TDS, isn't it? Yes. Shown as casual income and will be shown under income from other source. It's a head. So casual income percentage, the TDS percent is that 30%. You should remember that part. That is very, very important. Next one is profits earned on sale of receipt, license, exam script, cash agents against export or duty drawback of custom or exercise. Next, the value of any benefits, whether convertible into money or not, from business, profession, activities. Okay. Next one is any interest like salary, commission, etc. received by the professional income. Okay, received by whom? By the professional income in the hand of partner. However, the share of profits from partnership firm is exempted. So partnership firm is an exempted in the hand of partners. Next point is that amount recovered on account of bad debts which were already adjusted in the profit in the early year. Okay, so this all comes under the income chargeable under the head of business and professions. Next topic is that expenses deductible under the head, that is income from business, which are the deductions come under the business as well as professions. Okay, so all expenses relating to business or professions are allowed against income. Okay, following are few examples of expenditure which are allowed against income. So there are few examples they have given list. Let's go through each point. So first point is that rent, rate, and insurance of buildings. Second point is that patent for know-how, patent, copyrights, trademark, license, etc. Next, depreciation on fixed asset. Okay, next one is payment of professional service. Next point is expenditure on securities research for business purposes. Next, preliminary expenses in case of limited companies. Salary, bonus, commissions to employees. Salary, interest to and remunerations to working partners subject to certain conditions. Next one is commissions expenses. So this all comes under the expenses deductible under the head, that is income from business and professions. So once again, I will read that list. Okay, one is rent, rate, and insurance of buildings. Second point is that patent of know-how, payments of know-how, patents, copyrights, trademark, license, etc. Depreciation on fixed asset. Okay, whatever the depreciation comes under fixed asset, you have to take down. Next, payment for professional service, expenditure on scientific research for business purpose. Next, preliminary expenses in case of limited companies. So preliminary expenses in case of what? In case of limited companies. Next one is salaries, bonus, commissions to employees. This all related to the employees. One is salary and commissions, bonus. Okay. Next one is salary, interest, and remunerations to working partners subject to certain conditions. Next one is last point is that communication expenses. From here it comes under the expenses deductions, deductible. Okay. Next point is traveling and convenience expenses, membership fees, etc. and advertisement expenses in respect of promotions of business products. Next one is discount allowed to customers, interest loan taken for the business or professions product, etc. Bank charges, bank commission expenses. Next, entertainment, business promotion expenses, staff welfare expenses, festival expenses, printing and stationery expenses, postage expenses, and last one is all other expenses relating to business and professions. Okay, and they had given separate note that, let's see what is that note. The above expenditures are allowed on the basis of actual payment as well as on accrual basis at the date of finalization accounts. So you should see which are the list comes under the deductible expenses. Okay. Next one is expenses which are deductible on actual payment basis under the head income. Okay, income from business and professions. So let's go through the each point. So first one is following expenses will be allowed if the expenses have been paid before on due date before filing the income tax return. So first one is any tax, duty, cess or fees by whatever name called. Okay. Next one is contributions to the provident fund, ESI premium, gratitude fund, or other fund or welfare of employees. Next one is bonus or commissions or leave encashment payment of employees. Next one is interest on loan from public finance institutions, state financial corporations, or from scheduled banks. So this all comes under expenses which are deductible on actual payment. Okay, and actual payment, it comes under profits and gains of business and professions. Okay. Next one is expenses which are not deductible under the head income from business and professions. So first point is that expenditure on any type of advertisement of political party. The second point is that any interest, royalty, fees for technical service or other sums chargeable under this head which is payable outside India or in the India or non-resident or a foreign company on which tax has not been deducted or after deductions not deposited in the prescribed time. Okay. Next, any interest, commissions, rent, royalty, professional or technical fees paid or payable to any resident of India or the payment of conductor or subconductor on which TDS, okay, so that is a TDS full form is that tax deduct at source, isn't it? Yes, is not deducted, or if deducted then not deposited before due date of filling the returns. Okay, these are the points. Next, any tax calculated on the basis of payment or on the basis of profits and business. Next, any amount of wealth tax paid. Any amount of what is it? Wealth tax paid. Next one is any payment of salaries, salaries payable outside India or to a non-resident on which tax is deducted, on which tax is not deducted. Next one is any tax actually paid by an employer or on any income by the way of prequits on behalf of the employees. Next, any remunerations paid to non-working partners. Next, any remunerations paid to working partners other than specified in an agreement or has per the specified limit by the Income Tax Act. Okay. Next one is any interest to partner, not if not specified. So here any interest to partner is not specified in agreement and not more than 12%. Okay, this 12% you should keep in mind. Once again, I will repeat: any interest to partner, any interest, whatever interest to partner, if not specified in agreement, it's not specified in what is it, in agreement, then not more than 12%. Okay. Next, any payment in cash exceeding rupees 20,000, rupees 35,000 in case of payment made for paying, hiring or leasing goods charges, except when the payments made under circumstance, okay, specified in ruler, that is 6DD of income tax of Indian Income Tax Act. So this all comes under the expenses which are deductible under the head income from business and professions. Next one same continuations. So whether a deduction has been claimed as accrual basis during the assessment year and the payment is made in the subsequent year, in the subsequent year, and the payment or aggregate of profits made to a person in a day otherwise than by the way of the account paid checks DD exceeds rupees 20,000, rupees 35,000 in case of goods categories. In case of what? Goods categories. Such payment shall be deemed as profits of the accessee for the year in which the payment is made. Next one is any provisions for the payment of gratitude to the employees. Next one is any personal expenses not on defending in any proceeding or in any proceeding for breach of any law relating to sales of tax, etc. Okay, so this all comes under the points, that is expenses which are not deductible under the head, that is income from business and professions. Okay. Next, let's move to the difference between the less tax and tax-free securities. Okay, let's see the difference. Both. Okay, so less tax-free securities refers to those securities. Okay, less tax-free securities are refers to those securities where interest is paid to the accessee after deducting tax at source, whereas tax-free securities are those where the gross interest is paid by the accessee. So your gross interest is paid by the accessee without deducting any tax, and the amount of tax are paid by the issuing authority to the government on behalf of the accessee, and the amount so paid is deemed to be income of the accessee. So these are the different, these are the comes under less tax securities, less tax free securities. Okay, that is what is it. So your gross interest is paid by the accessee without deducting the tax of the, what is the amount of tax are paid by the issuing authority to the government. Okay, on behalf of the what? On behalf of the accessee, and the tax amount so the deemed to be income of the accessee. Next one is interest on securities. So your interest on securities refers to the interest earned on securities issued by the government, bonus of local authority or statutory corporations. So this all comes under interest on securities. So these are the difference between the less tax-free securities and what is the interest on securities. Next one is difference between listed securities and not listed securities. So let's see the meaning of listed securities and non-listed securities. So your listed securities are those securities which are listed in recognized stock exchange with the Securities Contract Regulation Act 1956. Whereas non-listed securities are those securities which are not listed under the recognized stock exchange. Okay, companies which are listed in a recognized stock exchange are authorized to sell shares in stock exchange, whereas companies which are not listed in stock exchange are not authorized to sell the share in stock exchange. So here it tells that in listed securities, so your listed securities which are listed in recognized in what? In stock exchange. So recognized in what is a stock exchange in the Securities Contract Regulation Act is comes under 1956. Then whereas non-listed securities, okay, whereas non-listed securities are those securities which are not listed in recognized stock exchange. So here they are recognized in stock exchange, but here there is not recognized in stock exchange. Next, companies which are listed in a recognized stock exchange and authorized to sell shares in stock exchange, whereas companies which are not listed in stock exchange are not authorized to sell the share of stock exchange. So these are the difference between the listed securities as well as non-listed securities. So here it tells that they are taking the stock exchange, they are recognized in stock exchange, okay, in listed securities, but your non-listed securities, they are not listed in recognized in stock exchange. So that is a difference, that is a main point. Okay, and next one is intra-head adjustment. Let's see the meaning of intra-head adjustment. Okay, so after making intra-head adjustment, if any, the next step is to make the intra-head adjustment if income and he's having income under the head, or that is head of income, then he can be adjusted the loss from one head against income from the other head. Example, loss under the head of house property to be adjusted against salary income. So it should be adjusted in which, under which head? Under the salary. Okay, So let's see here. Registrations to be kept in mind while making intra-head. So registration should be keep in mind while while making what? Intra-head. Okay. Adjustment of profits, adjustment of losses. Following restrictions should be kept in mind before making intra-head adjustment. So before doing thing, you should keep in mind that is that we should keep in a registration. Okay. So what are the things? Let's go through it. Before making intra-head adjustment, the taxpayer, okay, the taxpayer has been first make intra-head adjustment. So taxpayer has to keep first intra-head adjustment. Next one is loss from speculation business cannot be set off. Okay, so loss on speculation business, they cannot be set off against any other income. However, non-speculative business loss can be set off only against income from speculative business. Okay. Next point is that loss under head, that is a capital gain. Okay, loss under the head is a capital gain, cannot be set off against income under the head, that is income. So it cannot be set off under the capital gain. Next one is no loss can be set off against income from winning from lotteries, crossword puzzles, race, including horse race, card games, and any other games of any sort or form, gambling or betting of any form of nature. So this all comes under the, what is it? This all comes under which head? It's all come under income from other source. You have stated right, that is winning from horse race, winning from lotteries, crossword puzzles, race includes like horse race, next cardboard, card games, next any other games. Okay, this all comes under the, what is a gambling or betting of any form or nature. This all comes under income from business, sorry, income from other source. Okay, next point is that loss from business of owning and maintaining race horse cannot be set off against any other head. Okay, next one is loss from business specified under the section, that is 35 AD, cannot be set off against any other income, that is section 35 AD is applicable in respect of certain specified business like setting up a cold chain facility, setting up and operating warehousing facilities for storage of agricultural proceed, developing and building housing projects, etc. This all comes under the loss of business specified under section, that is 35 AD, and it cannot be set off against in any other income in section 35 AD. Okay. Next one is loss from business and professions cannot be set off against income chargeable in the tax under the head, that is salary. So once again I will repeat that, what is a loss from business and professions cannot be set off. They cannot be set off against what? Against income, and it can be chargeable to tax under the salary. So what are the adjustment you can do into in a salary? Okay, income from salary. So finally this all comes under the, what is it? Intra-head adjustment. So we should make while making a registration, you should keep in mind that is we should do in the intra-head adjustment. So these are the few points that we should be follow. Okay, so finally we have completed the theory part. Okay, that is profits and gains of business in professions. Theory part we have completed. Now we are in next section we will go in detail about the practical problems. Okay, there is so many practical problems that you should know. So first you should know the format about the business format as well as profession. In profession there is three types. One is in case of what is a doctor. Next, second point is in case of lawyer. Next, in case of chartered account. These three format you should know while doing a problem in next class. Okay,